Good morning. Good morning. This is Charles Coachman and Lana Ferguson, and this is Bay Area. Let's talk the Holy Bible. It is Saturday, January 15th, 42 degrees in San Jose, California. Lana, what do you have?
We have 11 degrees and snow, and it's really gloomy out there. I'm not seeing the sun.
I thought it was beautiful with the snow.
It could be if there was any sun. It's kind of gloomy, but it's still so it's all right. We'll make it. We had a lot of rain before we got this sleet and snow, and
Okay.
lost electricity for a while.
You did.
Yeah, but it was a short little while.
Well, I am glad that your electricity is back.
I am too.
It is nice out here. Just a little chilly.
Are you drinking your coffee outside in the morning?
I am not drinking my coffee. As a matter of fact, I didn't even have time to make any tea.
Oh, do you have water there?
I do have water. If not, I wouldn't be able to talk.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Any birthdays today, Lana?
Yes, I do have a birthday. Her name is Joanne Reback. Her maiden name was Cunningham. And she graduated from Sumner in 1967 along with my brother, Dick. And she's quite the gal. She lives in Lexington, Nebraska. The Cunninghams, they had quite a few, relatives and people. But the one thing about Joanne was that she survived a terrific accident that she very well could have died in. And she's just always had a cheerful, good outlook. And I want to wish her a happy birthday. I think she could possibly be in her 70s now. So,
well, that would probably make her 71 or 72. And of course, her brother Richie and sister Joni and Mr. and Mrs. Cunningham and maybe the Fawns.
I had to think, I'm tired this morning. Don't push it. How do you know her? Because
it wasn't her family on TV.
No. No, she lived in Eddyville. She was, we had that 17 miles, and Eddyville became part of the Sumner School District. So, can you believe that? 17 miles. It's kind of like, what? I go 17 miles to buy my yogurt. What's the deal?
Well, now, of course, the only 17 miles that we have around here are known as the 17-mile drive through Carmel. I think they might be different.
Yeah, I think so.
A little bit. All right, let's check and see what I've got. Shout out to Arvin Paredes. Arvin is a young realtor out here that I met just about this time 8 years ago. He is a terrific young realtor, and just really enjoyed him. Shared an office with him for quite a while, and I am grateful to know this young guy. And Arvin, just want to wish you a very happy birthday. God bless you. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your day. And if it is your birthday out there, I want you to enjoy your birthday. Let's take a look and let's mention our friends here. Curtis Brown, Rex Smith, Danny Magagliano, Red Burkheimer, Shelley Elliott, Nancy Kurt Brand, Ashley Van Winkle, Jeff Rainey, our good buddy Keith Landris. And Keith, we hope that you are still doing well with your recovery. Hope that your legs are feeling much better. Eric B. Groovin, Flournoy. Eric, praying for you and your family. and we know that you have things that are going on right now. So we look forward to you hopping on and joining us again. It's as soon as you're available to do that. And then Joe, and young Joseph praying for you. Lana, if you can pick up these names.
Yes, Saul Sotero, Andre Morris, Quentin Butaw, Sue Tavares, Shar Edmondson, Jeanette Tibio, Dr. Renee Gordon, and Brad Goodwin. We want to keep everyone in our prayers that, first of all, are unable to pray for themselves. And, that can be even friends, relatives that are in severe depression in this. We're living in some different times. Also, those that have had catastrophe. Kim Brandenbaugh, Holland Grubal. Good morning, Kim, wherever you are. And her husband, Tom, Ted Leichel, Ron Mendoza, Frank Favaloro, and the DeSantis family, Casey DeSantis. And we're thanking God and praising him for what he's doing for your family and the protection and care that he's giving. Praying for the family out in Colorado that lost a young son in the academy, and being with our friend Fitz as he's had a couple of days of being with families that have lost loved ones. So we're praying that he's had the words and encouragement to lead those people to peace in their time of need. Have I missed anybody?
Well, I just wanted to mention that yesterday, Frank Favaloro's daughter was on here. She actually joined us late, and just want to make sure that I mention her real quick. And haven't gotten any updates on Coach Favaloro. And again, I am just grateful for the impact that he's had on my life. And then want to bring up young Mr. Cameron. We are praying for you and pray that they were able to take care of you and you were able to work through this issue. And like I mentioned yesterday, that is something I'd never heard of for a baby. So Cameron and Cameron's parents, what's that?
That's sad. He's just a little guy.
Yeah. So a gallbladder problem, I believe, is what it was. And I had never heard of that. So just praying for you, little Mr. Cameron, and God bless you. All right. Let's check and see who we got with us this morning. And Frunknell, good morning, Charles and Lana. Joyful Saturday. And Frunknell, good evening to you. God bless you. Thank you for joining us. And Keith Landers, howdy, y'all.
Hi, y'all.
y'all. All y'all.
All y'all.
And Keith Landers shared. Keith, thank you. We are so glad that you were here with us. Hope that you are feeling better, my friend, and hope that your legs are getting stronger and stronger every day.
It sounds to me like he's doing just quite a bit better.
Well, that is a good thing.
Yes.
And then good morning all here watching. Blessings and be safe. Frunknell, thank you. And then shared and done. Frunknell, thank you for sharing. If you would like to share this out, please do. And then Keith had also shared, so thank you, Keith.
Yes.
And you guys, good evening, Frunknell, to you and all our friends over in the Philippines. And then Mark Rodriguez, good morning, wonderful people. Mark Rodriguez, one of the best people that I know that met through the Grow Live Academy.
Gave you a happy birthday, too.
Oh, he did me a happy birthday. I'm grateful.
Isn't that fantastic?
It was. And Mark, God bless you, man. Have a wonderful day, Mark. Look forward to talking with you soon. And then Diane Kazara Sayers, good morning, everyone. Blessings to all. Diane, good morning to you. Wishing you and David a wonderful, wonderful day. And then good morning. I hope you all have a blessed and safe Saturday. My friend's grandson, Cameron, is doing better.
Good.
I understand he passed one of the stones. Oh, was it a kidney stone or was it a gallstone? And they feel good about the progress with the second one. thank you all who included him in your prayers. Kathy,
Just
that is
keep us
great news.
posted. That's wonderful. Oh, such a little guy.
Yeah, that is just, again, I'd never heard that. And so, Kathy,
Okay.
you and Arnie have a great day. Enjoy your time out there.
Yeah.
It's probably a little chillier there where you're at versus here in the Silicon
Probably a little
Valley.
warmer than what it is here in Nebraska. So, Kathy, there's
Oh,
always
it's a
fish
little
every day.
warmer than you.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. All right, let's pick this up and go right. Well, let's see. One last thing. We are foggy. I heard the fog was going to come in. I haven't looked outside. Yesterday for us, it was overcast for a long time. Didn't see the sun for a while, but it
Dreary
did come
here.
out. So, you guys, I hope you don't have to go out on the road. I absolutely hate driving in the fog. That is
It's
one of
like
my
you're
least
lost.
favorite. Oh, when you
It's
get
like
the
you're
tule
lost.
fog in the valley or anywhere, when you get that tule fog and it's just low and hanging and you can't see anything, it's my worst driving. It's the worst thing that I've ever had to drive through. And I've driven through hard rains, I've driven through snow, and nothing is worse than the fog for me, unless it's a blinding snow storm, which I've never driven through. But
Those are
foggy,
not fun either, but there's something about fog that's eerie. It gives you a funny feeling when you can't.
I
With the
can't do it.
blinding snow, you know it's snow hitting your windshield, and you either pull over and let it pass, or
Yeah.
fog. It just goes on and on. Every time you hit a low spot, you dive into it.
Well, I hate that. So, Kathy, you and Arnie take it easy out there.
Be
All
true.
right, let's pop into our reading. We are going to be going. Let's see if I can find that. If it's still around, if it hasn't left us for the day. Chapter 15 of Psalms 1 through 5.
Psalms 15, a psalm of David, guidelines for living a blameless life. Lord, who may dwell in your sanctuary? Who may live on your holy hill? He whose walk is blameless and who does what is righteous. Who speaks the truth from his heart and has no slander on his tongue. Who does his neighbor no wrong and casts no slur on his fellow man. Who despises a vile man, but honors those who fear the Lord, who keeps his oath even when it hurts, who lends his money without usury, and does not accept a bribe against the innocent. He who does these things will never be shaken.
Amen. That is chapter 15 of Psalms. Lana, what stands out to you?
Well, when I read this a couple of times this morning before we started, and I thought, the only way we can stand blameless before God is through the mercy and the gift of his son, the sacrifice that he made for us. I believe that David was speaking to the Jews when this was actually written for everyone, but it was about the Jews, and it was God was against the Jews charging interest or usury or making a profit on loans to needy. Fellow Jews, although charging interest on loans to foreigners was allowed, but they couldn't do it among themselves, and interest was also allowable for business purposes. And when I read that, I thought, what a plan God had.
He wanted us to be fair with each other.
Yeah. And he's telling this to the Jewish people who are noted for being very good business people. They always have been. But
Mm.
you're
Well,
not supposed to talk badly about anybody. In fact, keep a seal on our lips, maybe.
that's always good advice.
Hard to do, but
It's
good advice.
hard to do. I always take a look at, well, in 15 and verses 1 and 2, it's asking the question, "O Lord, who may abide in your tent? Who may dwell on your holy hill?" And he answers it right up front. He who walks with integrity and works righteousness and speaks truth in his heart. He takes that right there, and then he goes to who is not going to be able to be there, who is not going to be covered by God.
Right.
He takes it and breaks it down. These things you need to avoid if you want to live with God and be part of his family. Well, let's take her. We got a little bit to read in Mark. Let's pop over to Mark 6, 1 through 56. Lana's going to kick us off there, and 1 through 13. We're going to do a little bit of back and forth this morning.
Okay, we're starting off with the people of Nazareth. Nazareth refused to believe. Jesus left there and went to his hometown, accompanied by his disciples. When the Sabbath came, he began to teach in the synagogue, and many who heard him were amazed. "Where did this man get these things?" they asked. "What's this wisdom that has been given him, and that he does miracles? Isn't this the carpenter? Isn't this Mary's son and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? Aren't his sisters here with us?" And they took offense at him. Jesus said to them, "Only in his hometown, among his relatives, and in his own house is a prophet without honor." He could not do any miracles there except lay his hands on a few sick people and heal them. And he was amazed at their lack of faith. Then Jesus went around teaching from village to village, calling the 12 to him. He sent them out 2 by 2 and gave them authority over evil spirits. These were his instructions: "Take nothing for the journey except a staff, no bread, no bag, no money in your belts. Wear sandals, but not an extra tunic. Whenever you enter a house, stay there until you leave that town. And if any place will not welcome you or listen to you, shake the dust off your feet when you leave as a testimony against them." They went out and preached that the people should repent. They drove out many demons and anointed many sick people with oil. Excuse me. And
Bless you.
healed them. Excuse me.
John's fate recalled. And King Herod heard of it, for his name had become well known, and people were saying, "John the Baptist has risen from the dead, and that is why these miraculous powers are at work within him." But others were saying, "He is Elijah." And others were saying, "He is a prophet like one of the prophets of old." But when Herod heard of it, he kept saying, "John, whom I beheaded, has risen?" For Herod himself had sent and had John arrested and bound in prison on account of Herodias, the wife of his brother Philip, because he had married her. For John had been saying to Herod, it is not lawful for you to have your brother's wife." Herodias had a grudge against him and wanted him put to death, and could not do so. For Herod was afraid of John, knowing that he was a righteous and a holy man, and he kept him safe. And when he heard him, he was very perplexed. He used to enjoy listening to him. A strategic day came when Herod, on his birthday, gave a banquet for his lords and military leaders and the leading men of Galilee. And when the daughter of Herodias herself came in and danced, she pleased Herod and his dinner guests. And the king said to the girl, "Ask me for whatever you want, and I will give it to you." And he swore to her, "Whatever you ask of me, I will give it to you, up to half of my kingdom." And she went out and said to her mother, "What shall I ask for?" And she said, "The head of John the Baptist." Immediately she came in a hurry to the king and asked, saying, "I want you to give me at once the head of John the Baptist on a platter." And although the king was very sorry, yet because of his oaths and because of his dinner guests, he was unwilling to refuse her. Immediately the king sent an executioner and commanded him to bring back his head, and he went and had him beheaded in the prison, and brought his head on a platter and gave it to the girl, and the girl gave it to her mother. When his disciples heard about this, they came and took away his body and laid it in a tomb. The apostles gathered together with Jesus, and they reported to him all that they had done and taught. And he said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a secluded place and rest a while." For there were many people coming and going, and they did not even have time to eat. They went away in the boat to a secluded place by themselves.
But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. When Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. By this time it was late in the day. So his disciples came to him. "This is a remote place," they said, "and it's already very late. Send the people away so they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." But he answered, You give them something to eat." They said to him, "That would take 8 months of a man's wages. Are we to go and spend that much on bread and give it to them to eat?" "How many loaves do you have there?" he asked. "Go and see." When they found out, they said, "5 and 2 fish." Then Jesus directed them to have all the people sit down in groups on the green grass. So they sat down in the groups of hundreds and fifties, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven. He gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to his disciples to set before the people. He also divided the 2 fish among them all. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces of bread and fish. The number of the men who had eaten was 5,000.
Mm. Jesus walks on water. Immediately, Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go ahead of him to the other side of Bethsaida, while he himself was sending the crowd away. And after bidding them farewell, he left for the mountain to pray. When it was evening, the boat was in the middle of the sea, and he was alone on the land. Seeing them straining at the oars, for the wind was against him, at about the fourth watch of the night, he came to them, walking on the sea, and he intended to pass by them. But when they saw him walking on the sea, they supposed that it was a ghost, and cried out. For they all saw him and were terrified. But immediately he spoke with them and said to them, "Take courage, it is I, do not be afraid." Then he got into the boat with them, and the wind stopped, and they were utterly astonished, for they had not gained any insight from the incident of the loaves, but their hearts were hardened. When they had crossed over, they came to the land in Gennesaret and moored to the shore. When they got out of the boat, immediately people recognized them and ran about that whole country and began to carry here and here on their pallets those who were sick to the place where they heard he was. Wherever he entered, villages or cities or countryside, they were laying out the sick in the marketplaces and imploring him that they might just touch the fringe of his cloak. And as many as touched it were being cured. That is Mark 6.
That's a
There's an awful
big,
lot there.
yeah, yeah.
What stands out to you?
Well, one thing that stands out to me in right in the first, and we hear people talk a lot about how Jesus was had no, his Mary had no other children. She just didn't have any other children. It was just Jesus, But listen to what Mark says. And he gives witness to this because isn't this Mary's son and the brother of James, Joseph, Judas, and Simon? Aren't his sisters here with us? So obviously he came from a family that wasn't just him. There were others. And it does mention somewhere else that Joseph was young when he died.
Mm.
And I don't know where that is, but the other thing is when it says that their hearts were hardened. Can you believe? I mean, well, I can. What do you think about that verse? Their hearts were hardened. They'd seen this miracle. All these people fed 5,000 people. Isn't that what it says?
Yep.
And they still haven't got a clue as to what's going on. It's kind of like, hello.
They just still didn't get it. They just still didn't get it. They did not understand.
Charles, even today, are there people like that?
Yes, but those were there.
They saw
for
it.
The miracles.
They had the living proof. We just and we have living proof through the Word of God if we trust this as being true.
But that's it. We have the story of all these men that have come through and told us. We have the stories of all the prophets letting us know that this man would be coming.
So
but still, we got those that do not believe.
We have the faith. When we see miracles where people are prayed over, they get up, they walk. I know it as myself. I often think, is that real? I mean, we should not judge, I guess, because there's something in all of us that questions, even today, the power of God. So that's what it. But to be there and to see that, it would be like the mechanic that can fix your car, and you're watching. He says, "I can fix that car," and you're watching him fix the car. You get in your car and you drive off, and then somebody will say, "Well, can that be fixed?" I don't think that can be fixed, although it's already been fixed for us. That's kind of how I'm comparing these disciples. How blind could you be? If someone would fix my car that someone else had said that was impossible, I would tell other people, "Hey, I know somebody that can fix that for you." You know what I mean, Charles?
Yep. And the part that's always got me, and this is something that has stayed with me all my life, but then ever since I became a Christian, when I started hearing this story, Jesus said to them, "A prophet is not without honor except in his hometown and among his own relatives, and even in his own household. A prophet is not without honor except in his hometown and among his own relatives." And he could do no miracle there except that he laid his hands on a few sick people and healed them. That statement doesn't sound right to me, but
yeah,
he was not getting, people
they
were
didn't
judging
believe.
him because, hold it, isn't this Mary and Joseph's son?
Yeah.
This kid that was raised here amongst us? How is he able to do this?
Well, and it was
This is magic.
probably the fact that a lot of them that were looking at this in the synagogue had position. They had position and power, and they couldn't do it. So they're looking at this son of a carpenter that's in carpentry himself and saying, how come he can do this? I mean, there was status quo as there is today, even then.
Mm.
So they really didn't have faith. And it kind of bothers me too, Charles, because I'm thinking, and what about these other people that followed? They had a sense of faith. But his disciples didn't. They didn't get it.
And then in verse 6, he says, and he wondered at their unbelief. You guys have seen me do this. You've watched what I have done. Do you not understand? You know the stories. You know what's happening. But because I was brought up and raised amongst you, it could not be me. He wonders at their unbelief. And then
it's a wonder he didn't say, which part of miracle don't you understand? You know what I mean? Today, that would be the verbiage used. What part of this miracle do you not understand?
Absolutely.
How often do we question the very things God has given us?
I think we do it quite often. Quite often, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. We got something here. Perhaps people today can't see Jesus because they're walking through.
Oh, that's so good. I'm going to capture that.
We are foggy, and perhaps people can't see Jesus today because they're walking through in a fog, through life in a fog.
Oh, geez, that is so good. I saved that. I did love that. Yeah, that's good.
Keith, you tied it all together.
Yes, you did.
And we were grateful for that. Well, this is a great point for us to call it a day. It's Saturday, 6:35. I want to thank everyone for being here. Kathy, thank you for the foggy weather report. And Keith, for the line after that.
That's fantastic.
I want to thank Lana for being here and helping me out because I couldn't get it through without her.
Thank you for letting me come.
Want to wish everyone that has joined us and that will watch this later, thank you for taking part of your morning to be here with us. God bless you. Have an awesome day. If you have an opportunity to help another, go out and do it. Wishing everyone just a wonderful and awesome day. God bless you. Enjoy, and we'll see you tomorrow as we continue our walk through the Bible.
Have a good one.
Everyone.